Combat in Minecraft is controversial. Since 1.9 has changed the combat, it was a hot debate which one is better. I believe neither is good, even Jeb's combat snapshots. The latter is better, but it's still pretty bad. Most of what I'm gonna say also applies to Hytale, because from what has been shown, both Minecraft and Hytale suffer from the same problem. That problem being the lack of variety. No, I'm not talking about maces, spears, billhooks, or attack patterns. No, I am talking about the types of attack mechanics this game has. Minecraft makes the predominant use of two types of attacks: short-range hit scans, known as melee, and pinpoint projectiles, known as arrows. Adventure mode of Hytale also appears to focus on these two attack types as well. Stuff like throwables, TNT, lava buckets, and rockets exist in Minecraft, but their use is far less often and universal than melee and arrows. I'm gonna use Team Fortress 2 as an example because combat is pretty much the entirety of that game. So, TF2 in addition to these attack types extensively use shotguns, explosive projectiles, flamethrowers, sniper rifles, miniguns and other weapons with unique ways of dealing damage, thus each requires its own skill set. The gunplay of a sniper rifle is vastly different from a shotgun or a rocket launcher. But yet, most of them are viable. All 5 combat classes are equally capable of killing each other, and if you don't like Scout scatterguns, then Soldier's rocket launcher or Pylos flamethrowers are equally good alternatives. If I would try to use Minecraft's lava bucket as my main weapon, I am at a huge disadvantage. To reiterate, even if Minecraft would have even more melee weapons, you would still be trying to land a short-range hit scan in a face-to-face fight. Same with arrows. The style of aiming and dealing damage with a bow, a crossbow and a trident is pretty much the same. So, how do we make Minecraft's and Hytale's combat better? By introducing more types of attacks, more fundamentally different weapon types instead of another melee plus stat minus stat. Personally, I like rocket launchers, and Minecraft almost has one, but it's not practical. The most common mobs, zombies, creepers and skeletons, have just enough health to tank a maxed rocket, which means you need 2 rockets to kill it, which is exactly how much maxed arrows you need as well. But rockets are significantly more expensive and annoying to make, a bow has the infinity, and crossbows are slower even with the quick charge because there is a hard delay between charging and shooting. And because mobs don't actively strafe, you don't really benefit from rocket splash damage. The negative stats of an improvised rocket launcher are too much to be a viable weapon in survival. And I haven't really seen many Minecraft minigames using a rocket launcher anyway, except when it's everyone with a rocket launcher. The problem with minigames is that you rarely have a choice of what to pick. You either find random loot in something like Hunger Games, or you pick a class with predetermined weapons in a class-based minigame. In minigames, you can't craft the weapon you like the most and enchant it how you would like, and then use it against other people. In survival, the weapon variety will also be unexplored, because survival is about building, not fighting. This, in the inventory issues, will prompt you to stick to just one weapon, something that is fine in most scenarios. Or maybe even 0 weapons, because an axe is already a weapon, and you will have an axe because it's a tool for mining wood. Wait, are we talking about PvP or PvE? Both, because the same set of weapons will be used in both survival and minigames, the new combat system has to work for both. But it's not to say that you cannot have a fun weapon from a simple stat change. Here is my favorite weapon in TF2, the Market Gardener. It's a normal melee weapon, but if you hit an enemy with it while rocket jumping, it will delete 7 out of 9 classes in one hit. Clearly, it's a meme weapon though. Nobody would attempt to do this in a serious game, but when you see a soldier with the Market Gardener equipped, he is basically saying, I am so good at this game, I can do this, and then fly away. And while mechanically, the Market Gardener just casts a short-range hit scan like any other melee weapon in the game, the way you play with this is vastly different from a conventional melee. Here is another lesson Minecraft could learn from more combat-focused games. It is very good when you have alternatives to a direct combat. Half of TF2 classes do not fight directly, which opens the gate for people who don't like fighting people face to face. Or if your aim sucks, you have 4 classes where it is not a requirement. And it is not like you are trying to go around an enemy, no, you are still trying to kill him. And it is not just TF2, plenty of combat-oriented games involve ways to contribute to the fight without dealing damage to the enemies. Here is another issue. Combat modifiers in Minecraft have very bad visual cues. This is an enchanted stone sword. How much damage does it make? It could deal 6 damage as an iron sword or 8 damage as a netherite sword. You can't visually tell. And you'll know if it had the fire aspect only after the fact. Same with armor, you don't know which enchantments the enemy armor has. Also, potions. It's extremely hard to tell which effects another players have. Here is a game design principle TF2 uses. Any source of extra damage, extra health, or any other buff is visually displayed, and because each buff has a unique visual cue, you can know the exact values. Another issue is that Minecraft's network code doesn't really suit PvP and was never designed for PvP. Just look at this huge delay on the local host. That would be unacceptable for any modern PvP game. Also, Minecraft's tick rate is only 20 ticks per second. In comparison, CSGO and TF2 tick over 60 times per second, thrice as much. CSGO tournaments have a tick rate of 120. Well, but when it comes to fighting mobs, 20 TPS is probably fine, but not for PvP. That said, I don't really have any concrete ideas for Minecraft weapons. I'm just one man who had a couple of days to think about this topic in his spare time. I'm not a decently sized studio designing this game full time. Besides, most of my game design capabilities now go towards my upcoming Voxel VR game. What makes it even harder is that Minecraft is a medieval fantasy game, and non-melee no-arrow weapons are heavily underdepicted in this setting, thus there are less sources to take inspiration from.